All right, guys. So here is my ninth generation Honda Accord hybrid. This is a 2014 model. The newest year for that generation of hybrid drivetrain system. So basically, Honda had announced that they were going to release a hybrid model, and the figures they released for the mileage were very impressive. It was about 45 in city and 45 highway, sorry, and about 50 miles per gallon in town. So what basically I have done with this car is just change the oil and then also change the transmission fluid. Oil I will change anywhere between 5,000 to about 9,000 miles. Always use synthetic. And for the transmission fluid, I have always used Honda recommended fluid directly from the dealership. Takes about 3 quarts, I think 3 or 3 and a quarter quarts. Not very much. Very easy to do. It's got a skid plate underneath. Mine, after about a year and a half of usage, got busted. It's an aluminum plate, and I just took it off. Gives you easier access to the oil drain plug for the engine and also for the transmission. Now, if you look at the front of my Honda Accord, I have changed the grille because I was involved in an accident about 2 years ago, and I had to park the vehicle for a full year. Still running the original battery up front, the 12-volt battery. Still running also the original hybrid battery. Right now, I get a signal for the wheel pressure sensors every now and then. I think the batteries might be due to be replaced very soon. Also, for the key fob, I've had to replace the battery. Remember, I bought this in about November 2013, and this is November 2019. So that's about, it's been about 6 years since I've had this vehicle. No problem whatsoever, no issues whatsoever. I've changed tires. I have not touched the brakes. And there you can see you have the tire pressure warning system and also the airbags, because when I got into the little crash, the driver's side airbag deployed, and I am still to replace the driver seatbelt mechanism. It has a sensor in there. Brought a brand new airbag. It was about $1,200 for that brand new airbag, and also bought a brand new computer for the ABS system. It was about $500-600 purchased before labor. You can see the start stop button is a bit worn out. That's basically the only wear item I would say on the car. I've had to replace the windshield twice. Initial windshield, by the time I replaced it, it was all pock-marked. Some people say the glass is soft. I believe that. That's the driver's seat. I wear jean pants to work, and you can see nothing torn, nothing degraded. I don't have a seat cover, and it's held up pretty well for 190,000 miles. So let's go to the front. Door mechanism, glass, everything works perfect. Just a quick look around, show you the rear wheel. I actually changed it. It's supposed to be 225 50 17. Here I got 45 17. It makes it very sporty. It looks very sharp, but I have to warn you, if you live in an area like me with dirt roads and stuff, each time you drive over those roads, you will feel get the feedback on your steering wheel. Remember, this vehicle has an electronic steering mechanism, so it doesn't have a belt for that. It has an electronic water pump, another bonus for that, and thirdly, it has a chain. It doesn't have a timing belt. It actually has a chain drive that drives the cams. So it might stretch over time, but so long as you keep an eye on that, and yeah, you'll be very happy with the result. The rear tail lights, remember on this, it's LED. I tried to take off my dealership sticker on there. Just when I bought the car, it was still fresh and hot. But of course, it was in November, and I gave up and I left it there, and it's stayed like that ever since. Um, Remember, like I was gonna say, your chain that is used for timing might stretch over time, and because this car is so efficient, please do not neglect on the engine. Make sure you use synthetic oil. It will give you benefits way beyond what you imagined. The front, because out here we had so many trucks, rocks being thrown around, it got a little bit pockmarked. The daytime running lights were LED on the hybrid, but because I got a new front end, now I have standard halogen bulbs. Doesn't look as sharp anymore. I've had to replace the driver side wiper. One day I came out, there was a lot of snow. I didn't take it out. Beware, that's a 25 to $30 cost. Shockingly expensive. It's made out of aluminum. So I got one, got the wipers. There you can see my front rotors. I haven't changed my brake pads. I haven't changed the rotors. These are all brand new, 190,000 miles. It's not indicating anything yet, but those grooves are really deep. I can run my finger through, and they are deep and they are real. So at some point soon, I will need to just uh, change those rotors and change also my front brake pads. It's just so deep and rough, and it just calls for a change. So I might be doing that very soon. But so far, I haven't had any alerts. Step on the brake, no squeals. If you manage your regen very well and you are not very aggressive driver, I believe you can easily hit 200,000 miles without having to change any brake component. For the rear, you can see the difference. It's also a brake disc. The disc is very smooth, no gouges, no deep troughs. For vehicles and motorcycles, the majority of the braking is done by the front. It's biased towards the front. So there you can see at the rear, they just like they came from the factory. Another thing to remember, the Honda Accord hybrid, at least for the hybrid, those fender well linings, they're all coated in some kind of felt kind of material, so to absorb the sound and make the vehicle quieter. There I just showed you the side lane view camera. If you're turning right, your blind spot will be shown on the screen. So all in all, after 190,000 miles in my ninth generation Honda Accord hybrid with the F Dreams engine, I am very, very satisfied. Haven't had any repairs. And just to give guys the heads up, this is one other reason why, if you are just a little bit handy, you really have no reason to take your vehicle to the dealership, because these newer vehicles, they are engineered to a very high standard, and the dealership really doesn't want to deal with a used car. Each time you take it there, they work on one thing, they might knock on another thing, and next time that other thing touches maybe a hot exhaust pipe or gets a cross current, and the next thing you know, you have another problem on your hands. So this is the vehicle. Made a stop at the airport to check out on my aircraft, and I was just driving slowly. Actually, the main point here is just the dash. I would have loved to have had a touring, but the price differential just didn't make sense to me at the time. So I just have the basic Accord hybrid, and I'm very, very satisfied with the savings I've made in my fuel consumption mostly. So most people, I see people carpool. I never had to carpool because the cost of running this vehicle was just so much more reasonable. I got all the space I need. I got the wonderful acceleration. 0 to 60 is phenomenal in this vehicle. You have to try to believe it. And also, I try to park far away from the curbs, so that way I don't break my front bumper. Simple precautions that any reasonable car owner should take, and you could have your Honda Accord hybrid take you well beyond 200,000 miles For me, I feel this car just drives like it did on day one. Perfect acceleration, and like you see ahead of me, I have miles and miles of roads to explore. Thanks for watching, and I hope this was informative for the Honda Accord Hybrid, and see you on the next video.